Trump is signing or has signed over 200 executive orders before his first 24 hours in office. Check it out.
Everybody, good to see you, sir. Mr. President, sorry. Good to see you, sir. Congratulations. We have a number of documents.
Mr. President, yeah, you're.
It was a great event. We went to the helicopter. It was freezing. The sun is a little deceptive.
Yes, it is.
So what would you like us to do?
Sign your orders.
Official documents.
Okay, I assume they're going to be happy with these documents?
Yeah, they're just, we might not be here.
It's the next step.
It's a tradition.
Sir, the first is 22 cabinet and cabinet level appointments for your signature. Okay. The next one will be, excuse me, the next one will be 47 sub-cabinet level appointments, sir.
But you don't have to sign 47
Did anybody see the 10 executive orders that he signed at Capital One Arena yesterday? It was pretty interesting. It was pretty awesome.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now 31 acting designations and appointments to effectively take control of the government. Let's do that.
Somebody in the chat said he's done more in 24 hours than the Democrats did in the last.
And we have 15 commission chairman and acting chairman appointments. Send it. Commission chairman and acting chairman.
I see you, Quinn.
He was number one at Harvard also. You know that?
Good counsel.
They have something in common.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, we have a proclamation ordering that on all future inauguration days, including this inauguration day, that flags shall be flown at full mast.
Very important.
So it was a beautiful place to have an inauguration tonight. The sound was so good. The temperature was 72 degrees.
You notice how he controls the room? It's a much different level of masculinity than what we've experienced over the last 4 years from Joe Biden. He controls the room. The room doesn't control him. If anybody was watching, and I actually did a review video yesterday on the Anton Daniels channel of him signing the executive orders and then throwing the pens into the crowd. And people were really upset by that. People were upset by it. One of the things that he did was that he rolled back a lot of the Biden administration era things that was a part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion and all of this other type of stuff. And so what makes this president unique is that he's already been doing the work and they've already been preparing for him to sign these 200 executive orders well before he got into office. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I seen was Netanyahu. Netanyahu, he actually congratulated, and there was world leaders that were still congratulating him as he ascended into the White House. We are now back at the totem pole. World leaders are actually the ones that are saying, man, congratulations, the United States of America. We got to respect them, all of that stuff.
Congratulations, President Trump. Sarah and I send our warmest wishes to you, Melania, and the American people on your second inauguration as President of the United States. Your first term as President was filled with groundbreaking moments in the history of the great alliance between our two countries. You withdrew from the dangerous Iran nuclear deal. You recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. You moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, and you recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You also brokered the historic Abraham Accords, in which Israel made peace with 4 Arab countries. I believe that working together again, we will raise the U.S.-Israel alliance to even greater heights. I'm confident that we will complete the defeat of Iran's terror axis and usher in a new era of peace and prosperity for our region. On behalf of the people of Israel, I also want to thank you for your efforts in helping free Israeli hostages. I look forward to working with you to return the remaining hostages, to destroy Hamas's military capabilities and end its political rule in Gaza, and to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. I'm sure, Mr. President, that under your leadership, the best days of our alliance are yet to come.
Some people in the chat, for example, is saying, I don't like him, I don't trust him. Well, when did we have to start liking people and trusting people in order to earn their respect? When did we have to start liking and trusting people in order for them to recognize us as who we are and as the kings that we're supposed to be and as the greatest country on the face of this earth? I don't necessarily care for Russia or China, but it doesn't mean that I can't recognize my adversaries. I don't necessarily care for my enemies, but it doesn't mean that I can't recognize and pay attention so that I can, because respect, and this is the thing that women don't understand a lot of times and why men need to be in leadership, is that we don't have to necessarily like each other, but if you respect me or if I respect you, that means I recognize your ability to add value into my life and or to be in an opposition that has some level of power. So we have to negotiate. We have to have a conversation. We have to work together. It's not about whether I like you or not. I don't have to like any other country for that matter. As a matter of fact, I'm so comfortable and I love the United States of America so much to where I'm more than willing to stay in the United States of America for the rest of my life. But at the same time, I still require your respect. You got to have the respect of the person that you live with. Some of y'all is loved by the person that you in bed with, but you're not even respected. They love you for what you do for them, but they don't respect you as a man. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not about whether I like you or not. It's about understanding diplomacy when it comes to international relations, and the fact that they are sending these congratulations is almost a requirement to show that you respect me. But let's get back to these executive actions that he signed and some of the impacts that's going to directly affect and impact what happens to you in your daily lives.
At the White House this morning. Tom, you and I just talking before show. Trump signed more than 200 executive actions yesterday, which really sets the tone for his second term. What more do we know about what all he signed?
Well, think back to the 2024 election, Marky, the biggest issues that rose, into the minds of voters, things like the border and the energy, and President Donald Trump really addressing those issues head on, declaring a national emergency at the border to potentially deploy troops to the border to stop migrant crossings, and even declaring drug cartels in Mexico as foreign terrorist organizations. But like I said, this also applied to energy policy here in the country with President Donald Trump.
Wait, let's stop there. Why weren't we already, prior to Trump getting into office, why weren't we already declaring drug cartels as terrorist organizations? They do, forget the drug cartels, they're also trafficking humans, which I think is probably one of the worst things that you can ever do on the face of this earth. Trafficking girls and humans and boys and doing what they've been doing. And basically what we've been doing in the United States of America by way of this immigration crisis was giving them a license to do so and incentivizing them to be able to do so. That's why they haven't been designated as a terrorist organization, because we would have to address issues related to what we were profiting from as the United States of America over the last 3.5 to 4 years. We basically enabled other countries, drug cartels, and Mexico to traffic people, and we made it more lucrative for them to do so because people then became more interested in coming over here in the United States of America, thinking that they would have the land of opportunity and coming over here illegally. And so basically we created a black market. The question that I have to ask is, who are the ones that benefited from it? We created a black market. So on day one, we finally started to operate in God's purpose and say, you know what, we have to designate these people as terrorist organizations because they're doing some of the most egregious things, not only to us in the United States of America, but abroad. We created a black market.
Offering and ordering changes on energy policy, boosting oil and gas drilling, including at a contentious wildlife refuge area in Alaska. Opponents have worried that could impact animals like grizzly bears and polar bears in those areas. But supporters say the refuge is a key source of oil and more drilling could help the local economy. The president's saying it's time to utilize American energy and sell it to other countries.
Y'all said not we, Biden did this. Oh, no. We did, because let's be clear. There's still half of the country that voted for Biden in that previous election, and they tried to vote in Kamala Harris to have a continuation of what we've experienced over the last 4.5 years. See, what y'all don't understand is that the way that it used to be is we used to say whoever won, that was our president because we had no choice but to deal with him over the next 4 years. Like, we took ownership and responsibility, but that then incentivized us to participate in the legislative process in the next 2 years and then in the next 4 years if they didn't meet expectations. Regardless of what you think, when you travel abroad or when you're dealing with international issues, when you go places, they don't say, hey, who you voted for. You are basically a reflection of the voting rights or the votes that people have exercised over the last 2 to 4 years. Nobody cares about what you voted for. The only thing they care about is the results. So they see us as a collective, as a group. They don't see us individually as Republicans or Democrats. They just say Americans.
President Trump also signed orders eliminating the electric vehicle mandate put in place.
No, I don't believe that Biden won in 2020, but it doesn't matter because he was the president for the last 4 years. So regardless of what I think, the past is the past, and the history is going to write itself. Fact of the matter is, over the last 3.5, 4 years, we had Biden in office. It doesn't matter whether I believe it or not. The only thing that matters is what happens now and going into the future, and that's why we're talking about these executive actions. No, I don't believe that Biden had 83 million votes. Does it matter at this point? I mean, he's a vegetable. Half the time, he's not even conscious. He don't even know where he is half the time. He done already won. He pardoned everybody, gave them preemptive pardons. They robbed America. They absolutely destroyed this country. They tried to, but America is closed for repairs now.
By President Biden, targeting efficiency rules for home appliances and pulling the United States out of the Paris Climate Agreement. So again, all sorts of executive orders to keep in mind after the first 12 hours, not even the first 24 hours of President Donald Trump's term, Markey. Some of them also on the little bit of the vague side, including, implementing an America First policy at the State Department, as well as ending the weaponization of the federal government. But again, over 200 executive orders in the first 12 hours of the Trump presidency, Markey.
Yes, just remarkable. He wasted no time yesterday. Tom, what about the promises the president made about overhauling the federal workforce?
Yeah, absolutely. Some big changes announced through the executive orders with all this, including requiring federal employees to come into the office and, to end remote work. So, again, this was one of a number of changes in relation to the federal workforce. He also issued an executive order freezing all federal hiring. The president saying he wants to ensure the federal government hires competent people. The freeze, we will note, does not apply to the military or areas like national security. But again, these executive orders covered a wide range of areas, including delaying that enforcement of the TikTok ban for 75 days. And also, like you said earlier in the show, Markey, one that had some people talking on social media, renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. So a lot of different issues part of this.
Yeah.
It's a great day to know that today we have a competent president, we have a competent cabinet, that things are in order. And I know that it's going to be a lot of people, and this show is going to highlight and showcase the dysfunction of America and why people think that we should be leaving our borders open, but no, we not. What we planning for in the future, and some of the cabinet picks and the members that's going into office, and what changes is even being made. Like, for example, Vivek Ramaswamy deciding that he want to step down as the government one of the co-chairs or the co-heads of Department of Government Efficiency, and then they're saying and speculating that he actually is going to run for governor of Ohio so that we can ensure that we control what goes on in future presidential elections. But we gonna get there. We definitely gonna get there.